Welcome to the In My Opinion Show with Ronald Barry Robinson and friends. Seen on the internet 24 hours, 7 days a week. To view, go to our very own channel and in capital letters type in RBRIMO. That's Ronald Barry Robinson, In My Opinion. We want to welcome our millions of viewers worldwide, and we want to also welcome our very talented co-host, Mrs. Denise Smith-Allen.
Hi, Ron.
Hi.
Hi, Henry.
Hi, Denise.
And we want to welcome Mr. Henry Hatter to the
Thank you, Ron. And Denise, again, I want to say we are so proud of you having a granddaughter that graduated from Howard University.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Let's talk about death and Social Security. Who died before they collected Social Security? Keep reading and talking about this until everyone has had the opportunity to read and listen to this conversation. This is surely something to think about. The only thing wrong with the government's calculation of available Social Security is that they forgot to figure in the people who died before they ever collected Social Security. Check. Where did that money go? Remember, not only did you and I contribute to Social Security, but your employer did too. It totaled 15% of your income before taxes. If you averaged only $30,000 over your working life, that's close to $220,500. Did you see where the government paid in one single penny? We're talking about the money you and your employer put in a government bank to ensure you and I that we would have a retirement check from the money we put in, not the government. Now, they are calling the money we put in entitlement when we reach the age to take it back. If you calculate the future invested value of $4,500 per year, yours and your employer's contribution at a simple 5% interest, less than what the government pays on the money that it borrows over 49 years of working, you would have almost $1 million. If you took out only 3% per year, you'd receive almost $27,000 per year, and it would last better than 30 years until you're 95 if you retire at age 65. And that's with no interest paid on that final amount on deposit. If you bought an annuity and it paid 4% per year, you would have a lifetime income of $2,976 per month. Another thing, if someone died in their 50s or before, they never withdrew 1 cent of their Social Security money that they paid into all their lives, so that money just went up in smoke. The folks in Washington have pulled off a bigger Ponzi scheme than Bernie Madoff ever did. Entitlement my foot. I paid cash for my Social Security insurance. Just because they borrowed the money for other government spending doesn't make my benefits some kind of charity or handout. Remember, congressional benefits, free health care, outrageous retirement packages, 67 paid holidays, 3 weeks paid vacation, unlimited paid sick days. Now, that's welfare, and they have the nerve to call my Social Security and retirement payments entitlements. You're broke. We're broke, and we can't help our own seniors, veterans, orphans, or homeless. Yet in the last few months, we have provided aid to Chile, Haiti, Turkey, Egypt, Pakistan, Iraq, Afghanistan, and Israel. Literally billions of dollars. And they can't help our own citizens in New York and New Jersey and other places. They call Social Security and Medicare an entitlement, even though most of us have been paying for it all our working lives, and now, when it's time for us to collect, the government is running out of money. Why did the government borrow from it in the first place? It was never supposed to be part of the general fund. Sad, isn't it? 99% of people won't have guts to forward read this, but I sure will. What's your thoughts, Denise?
Well, listening to that, I can certainly appreciate the fact that Social Security is something that people have worked for and are entitled to, but it is not an entitlement. It is something that has been worked for. And it's amazing to me because it reminds me of the story recently. My mother celebrated her 90th birthday.
Wow.
And she received word not only from the Social Security office, but I think from pension fund to she has to validate that she is still alive. And I know that has to do with the idea that there's a lot of fraud that goes on. But she has to send in a document, and it has to be notarized so that they will continue to send her benefits. Otherwise, they're going to discontinue. And it was funny to me when I heard that, but how sad, because there are people who are not, with all their faculties and, still are alive, and hopefully they have someone who's not taking advantage of them,
Sure.
But it's just the idea that at this state, a person who's worked, I know my mother's worked at least 50 years of her life, and, to have something like that sent, it's like, really? Come on, but Social Security, I hear various times that, it's going to end, there's not going to be enough money to pay out to, the upcoming people who have worked, but I'm looking at the generation right now, and I know that Social Security has been worked for by the majority of the people in this country. There are certainly those that I'm not speaking about who have infirmities or some other means that they're getting Social Security benefits. I'm talking about the working American in this country who have paid their dues, have paid their share. And now with the idea that, from Washington, there's, this talk about, maybe dismantling it or, bringing it to an end. I don't see it. I really don't see it. Now, like I said, maybe I have rose-colored glasses on, if you will, but I just think that it's something that's going to be perpetuated because there's always going to be people in this country working on some level. So there's people paying into the system. There are people who are going to leave here without being benefit of that system. And quite frankly, when you look at the demographics of it, there are a lot more African Americans who do not benefit from Social Security as you would think that they would because of all the things that happen with us that we leave here early. So we, in effect, are helping to support everybody else. That's another argument. But that's not the discussion that we're going to have today. I just thought I'd throw that in there.
Absolutely.
But I just want to say that I believe personally that that's going to be something that's going to be around.
Well, and also too, we have to take into consideration those people that that pass on, in later in life, not just prior to 50 and so forth. What happens to all of that money? There's millions of people that around the country, all right, that live much longer than 90 years and so forth, and pass away after age 90. So I mean, the government, they got their own little. We got their own little stash up there. Henry, what is your thought?
I love Denise's approach to the subject. But, Denise, congratulations to Mom.
Yes.
She's outlived 90% of everybody else who would want to live to be 90.
Oh, really?
And many people would trade her, even those who were 78 would love to trade her for her longevity. And the chances are you're going to make it also.
Oh, yeah, she has that gene.
What is the probability of the population all living to 90? Not possible. But that's a great contribution. It's a great moment of congratulations for anybody. But if we go back to 1932, about the time that Social Security started, people lived in poor houses. Didn't have anything, and so and I learned this from people who knew about this. Did you know that people lived in poor houses at that time? Okay, but then Social Security came along. I believe with President Roosevelt. They had some remnants of it before then. that were pushed in legislation earlier in the century. But when it came along, there was about 15 people working to support one person, retired. Do you believe that? In those days. And today, that pyramid is turned upside down. It's like this now. And there are about, probably, I believe the last I read was probably 4 people supporting a retired person, or 3. And that means that we have lost that capacity that Social Security provided for us. It's never going to be any different. It's going to be worse as the population rises and people live longer. It's going to get much more devastating for us. And what we need to do is to, and the way government deals with it in a rational way, if you call it rational, is that they will cut benefits and pass it on to other members of the population, right? That's what they do.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
What about all the money that the government has bankrolled over the years? I heard what you're saying,
Yeah.
4 people for, for one person.
Yeah.
But what about all the probably trillions of dollars, you know what I mean, that they should have, that I'm sure that they probably have squirreled away somewhere?
I don't believe that money's there. I believe that our treasury is defunct. I think that we've been living beyond our means for years and years and years. And we won't tell the truth. We won't tell the American people it's time now that we tighten our belts. The Affordable Care Act is another big boondoggle. It's going to dump us in the drink. We cannot afford big debt like that. There's a big snowball behind us. And the only way to settle and stabilize Social Security is to take away from other things that are called entitlements. You're gonna have to diminish the Social Security. You're going to have to cut back on health care. And you're going to have to do other things because the money supporting the military and government is too small to do anything about stabilizing Social Security. Our Social Security is going to be broke by 2023. That means we will be paying out more money than we are taking in. And if you're here at that time, get ready for the real gut-wrenching truth.
Mr. Hatter.
I know the truth is hard to
I
take.
think you've been listening to too much of your Republican friends. All right, the doom of Social Security, and the doom Affordable Care Act is going to bring havoc and things of that nature. These scare tactics, in my
These
opinion,
are not scare tactics,
okay,
Ron. We're not the rich nation we used to be.
That could be true.
That's true.
That's spread out all over the world, and the rest of the world say, America, we're tired of you taking our resources and benefiting by it and leaving us in poverty. What if you want oil from us, you're going to pay for it. And if you want to have people who lay on Social Security all day or on welfare, you may do so. But you will not take it from our coffers.
Well, I think that, going back to another conversation we were having in terms of war, that's one of the reasons why I think, politically we engage in going outside of our country, getting involved with other people's stuff, because there always has to be that balance. Whereas there's people that are going to be killed off. I mean, seriously, those are the kinds of things, those are the kind of hard discussions that, we don't want to talk about, we don't want to hear about.
Those.
But those things help to balance out the whole population thing. But I still think that even though, we're no longer industrialized and we're moving more to a service generation, there's still going to be people that are going to work in this country. They're going to be people. And yes, it's going to be different. As you mentioned, the numbers are down in terms of how many support one. But I believe, and this is again my opinion, that there's always going to be a group that's going to be available and working and supporting you know, and the financial thing here in America, it's definitely, it's shifted already. You know, we are not the superpower that a lot of people still think that we are. We're just not there anymore. But in terms of Social Security, you know, I still think that it's going to be around. It may change its name. It may change the amount that's divvied out, but I still think that there's going to be a mechanism in place to support those persons who have worked. And like I said, I'm not talking about, there's other groups that are still receiving Social Security. I'm not speaking about them. I'm speaking about those who have paid into the system.
Denise, if you're getting for $2,000 a month, let's say you're retired, you're getting $2,000 a month for Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and by 2020, the government will be paying out more than it takes in if we don't do something quickly. And more than likely, Ron, would you please write this on the wall and then go back and look at it?
Okay.
More than likely what they're going to do is they're going to go through and cut benefits on Denise and me and others to save your Social Security.
To save mine.
Okay,
Yeah.
so instead of me receiving $2,000 a month, I'm going to be receiving what, $1,800, so I can support him.
Yeah, well, that's how things work.
Yeah.
You know, insurance works the same way. And so the future's not as gloomy as we'd like to think. And think about all of the population growth that we got, and the resources that we don't have to become a competitive nation, building a product that other countries want and need. And it's just not there. And intellectual capital is not enough to bear us through this.
Well, we'll just borrow more money from the Chinese, Henry.
The Chinese are going to demand that money back, and you won't be able to pay, and they're going to come in here and say, move over.
Okay, so I have a question for you both. Okay, so since we are now a global economy, if you will, we have people who do work outside of the United States. So suppose they have worked in a system that's outside of the United States for the duration of their work life. Now, what happens in terms of their Social Security? How does that factor in? Do they pay into our system, or are they paying in another system?
I believe that they pay a portion of it in our system. Obviously, a part of it goes to the other system. That's just the way it's defined. But that's not enough to save our Social Security or to reduce the burden that many people are going to suffer as a result of the loss of funding for Social Security. And we got to think through this. And we got to, the most difficult thing, Denise, to deal with is to be able to share the amount of money that's in the pot. There's only so much there. Ron, you understand? The money in the pot will not change.
Yes, it will. It's going to diminish.
Okay. But then, in order for us to live as a collective society, in a free and democratic society, guess what must happen? We got to learn how to share that money. Or else we will tear this country to pieces.
Well, I'm greedy, Mr. Henry. I ain't sharing shit. with nobody, okay? I'm the one put in all those years and sacrificed, family life and personal life and, and health and everything like that. And your boy up there, and I'll leave him nameless, but he's already tacked on.
President Obama?
No, the nerd.
Oh, okay.
All right, he's already hit me. He's already hit me for for almost $100 a month.
He only hits the people who have the resources to give.
Well, he's hit you too. He's done hit you too. So don't shuck and jive. All right, he's done hit you too. And when you retire, I'm sure that bill or law, whatever he enacted, is going to get you too.
But it has saved the system.
I don't give a damn about the system.
Yes, you do.
I mean, in that sense of the word, all right? Leave my cash alone, all right? I mean,
That's
for
why
what
they have to take it.
No, for what I did, I mean, I could have been killed. You know what I mean? In my job. So, and the same thing
So could
applies
Denise,
to.
and she's got a gun.
Well,
Listen to him.
the more power too. If you get more, get them. You know what I mean? 'Cause maybe that might, and if you don't have any, Mr. Hatter, maybe you should get some too, you know? You gotta protect your own, okay? We're gonna change gears here.
I'm sorry.
Should student athletes be paid even though they get scholarships worth thousands? University and colleges are making billions yearly from college sports. Mr. Hatter, what's your thoughts?
My initial thought is no. They're students. They must be competitive in the position, the endeavor that they go into. It is an unprofessional situation as a student in high school or college, and that their welfare is provided by public dollars. They're in the school because of the tax base. And why do you want to pay someone that's writing on the tax base? Whether high school or college.
Well, I'm speaking more
Why do you
primarily.
want to put other students at risk and,
I'm
at a
speaking-
disadvantage?
I'm speaking about
Athletes-
universities and colleges.
Okay,
primarily.
athletes are the only ones getting paid. What about good students who rise to the occasion to get a 3.5, a 4.0? Why not pay them as well?
But
Why
see, I think
athletes?
that's it. I think, you know, if I could, I'd try to separate the line here. All right, billions of dollars are going into sports, you know, in these colleges and universities. All right, the one with 3.5, 3.6, I'll just use this as regular students. All right? For the, you know, for the distinction.
Sure.
Okay, they're not bringing any cash in on every, you know, cash into the universities on Saturdays, and, you know, in the bowl games, and, you know, and all the other things that, you know, that come with for college sports.
I'm going to put it to you real crass. The schools pimp these kids.
Mm-hmm.
They really do. They really do. And they are making lots of money, as Ron has alluded to. And the kids are penalized through the NCAA rules and regs that say that they are not permitted to receive any type of remuneration, any type of gifts, any type of anything. So they're putting their sweat and their brow and their bodies in to do a job along with their academics, okay? And they're held to a standard, most of them, so that they can pass their classes, and yet they still have to be out there to practice and be at these games. And if they win, then there is a lot of money that's made by the coach and by the school. So I'm not necessarily in agreement that they should be paid, but I don't think that they should be limited from receiving maybe some type of gifts to some limited degree. I think that needs to be explored.
Okay, but
And some of them, let me interject this real quick. And some of these coaches are making several $1 million a year.
yeah. Okay, but Ron, remember we have other students in the institution? What about those kids? And who makes the money during their lifetime? Is it the doctor or the attorney, the educator, or the policeman or whatever? It's the athlete. It's the entertainers. They are getting opportunities to train for a high-paying position later, should they make it. Everybody won't make it,
That's
but that's
right.
the risk you take. And yet and yet we're 18th among the 25 industrialized nations in scholarship. Because our kids are going to see, we don't do enough to incentivize them and to prepare them and to give them opportunities that will accelerate their ability to be successful in the classroom. And we turn to other countries to provide foreign intelligence to drive our industries, to drive our clinics, to drive our consultants, the people who think for us, our computer technology.
We just got on board with this concept of STEM like 3
Yeah,
years ago.
sure.
You know, I mean, and we knew that this was happening, so we're responsible for that. the higher educators, those who are presidents of colleges and things like that, those are the ones that should have been pushing that whole academic side, because as you're saying, the entertainers and the athletes are the ones that make the big bucks, but their lifespan and their careers are short, whereas they're short.
They don't need to be long.
That's
Not
true.
with the money that they're making.
That's true, but I'm still speaking about, when you have a doctor, a pharmacist, a chemist, those kind of people, they have a span that's real. And they could make money too,
Sure.
but they're not recognized because we don't put the emphasis there. We don't do that.
But if I were a good athlete, if I had the talent, would I like to be an athlete? Yes, I would. I'd like to make the big money for a short period of time and lay on the beach and suntan and drink Kool-Aid or lemonade. But that's an easy life. That's a life of Greek gods.
Yeah,
But the rest of the world is made up of human beings who toil from sunup to sundown.
But they use
It's
their,
not a realistic
they
thing to
use
give
their
athletes
brains
money.
and their bodies. They really go through a rigorous training, and then look at all of those now that you're looking at the professional athletes that are coming away with all these serious injuries that have been swept under the
They
rug.
do that in the military too, and I don't mean to change the nothing, but we're exonerating people that there's no comparison.
Well, I want to be one of them Greek gods. I want to lay on the beach. All right.
They will long be remembered when maggots are eating us up.
Okay.
With that, we'll close this segment of the show. I want to thank our talented co-hosts, our excellent engineer, Mr. John Wilson, and I want to thank our millions of viewers worldwide. This is Ronald Bayer Robinson and friends saying until next time, stay focused.